Hello everyone! Greetings from very sunny, very hot Germany, Deutschland. My name is Svetlana Mucha and I'm the leading matchmaker and dating coach at Diolli.com boutique matchmaking service. Today I have prepared for you a very unusual topic. I don't think we have discussed it on this channel ever because, well, why to talk about divorce when people who are on this channel, they think about building a relationship to find the one. But in this video, I want to discuss with you why do people get divorced. I have prepared for you statistics, official statistics. Also, I have found several official researchers made in the US, in Western Europe, in Ukraine, and we will compare with you reasons why do people get divorced. I will also share with you my opinion because I interview many gentlemen from the West, from the East, from Ukraine. I interview many Ukrainian ladies and, well, many singles, especially if we are talking about singles in the age group 30 and up. Many of these people have been married before, and what do my clients, both male and female, share and think about their divorces, reasons why they got divorced? We will talk about it. So, according to numerous official studies, there are several main reasons worldwide why do people get divorced. I will read them to you. So, conflict, arguing, irretrievable breakdown in the relationship, lack of commitment, infidelity, and lack of physical intimacy. According to these researchers, these are the most popular reasons worldwide why people get divorced. But if we will discuss with you United States and Ukraine precisely, and also Western Europe, we will find out that in some countries, reasons, especially top reasons, they can be very different. So it is important not to forget that COVID and lockdowns happened, and for a year, for almost 2 years in some countries, people were stuck at home, and it has also influenced the reasons why people got divorced. And during the lockdowns, the number one reason why, unfortunately, so many marriages have crumbled, well, the number one reason was abuse, unfortunately, both physical and mental, etc. So COVID has also changed official statistics. It has a big impact on this data, on the reasons why people get divorced. It is interesting, but there is lots of data about the reasons of official divorces in the United States. And you can find data online if you Google it in different states, but in the whole country, the number one reason why people get divorced is infidelity. According to a study from the American Association for Marriage and Family Therapy, as many as 25% of married men and 15% of married women have had extramarital affairs. So according to these researchers, men in the US, they cheat way more often than women do. Do you think that infidelity is a big reason for divorces in Ukraine? I will give you the answer to this question at the end of this video. Let's continue discussing the main reasons why people usually get divorced in the US. Well, the second biggest reason why people get divorced in the US is money, or financial disagreements, as it is officially called. Well, of course, you can understand that finance, money, our well-being, it is important, and we are all adults, and there can be financial abuse as well, not only mental or physical. Unfortunately, very seldom when people get married, they think about important things, like, for example, money. Very seldom they try to check if their financial expectations are actually similar, if they have similar understanding about gender roles in the family, who's going to be the breadwinner. For example, the lady thinks that once she gets married, she will be a housewife, she will take care of the house, she will take care of the kids, and her husband will bring bacon to the table. But as it turned out later, the gentleman saw that they both will actually donate into our family budget, or vice versa. The gentleman has assumed that after they get married, the lady will give up her job and she will devote herself to cooking 3 meals per day, to taking care of him, having babies, and her career won't be important for her because now she will concentrate on being a wife and a mother, and it doesn't work for all women. And if we dig deeper into these financial disagreements, well, people can have really strong fights about money because, for example, a husband who believes it is worth investing money into this, and the lady, she wants to buy something else. Or, for example, he wants to have a more luxurious vacation, and she thinks that it is better to save for college. So they have strong disagreements about money, how to earn this money, how to spend it, how to save it, what to do with it. This is why usually when I conduct the very first interview with all potential clients, both male and female, I try to understand their attitude to money, their way of life. Unfortunately, so many singles, they believe it is not that important to actually talk about money, to discuss financial expectations and roles in this family, in the future family and relationship, who is responsible for what, how it will be, how do they see it, because they are too focused on looking for someone with perfect blue eyes or someone who is a Gemini, etc. So they pay attention at all the wrong things. And a very popular reason why, unfortunately, people get divorced in the United States, I would have never guessed that it can be a reason for a divorce, but it is a weight gain. Well, I have been to the United States many times, and I have seen that there are many people there who are big if you compare them, for example, to Ukrainians or to people in Western Europe, and not all people eat healthy. But it is still hard for me to imagine why or how a person can divorce their spouse because he or she has gained weight. On the other hand, as a matchmaker who has been introducing singles for more than a decade, I can understand that once one of the partners has gained weight, it can have a great impact on their sex life, on the level of attractiveness, and of course, if there will be the lack of intimacy, it will also have a great influence on the relationship. And also, a person who has gained weight, probably he or she will feel less confident, and it can also lead to misunderstandings and to conflicts. Before we even go to discussing reasons why people get divorced in Ukraine and in Europe, I can tell you that the weight gain, as they call it here, it's not common for Europe, but it is a reason number 3 why people get divorced in the United States. It's crazy, but well, it's life. And the reason number 4 why people get divorced in the United States is the lack of intimacy. Actually, this is a quite common reason, and if you will Google, if you will search different countries in Europe, you will see that usually this reason is among top 5 why people get divorced. And here also, even at the early stage when two people start dating, it is very important to understand if you're on the same page about this, because some people, they are very passionate, they are very affectionate, while other people, they are more reserved, and they appreciate, for example, more longer conversation, and for them it is more intimate than physical part of a relationship. So it is really important to understand if you and the lady or a man in front of you are on the same page about it, because later on you can have lots of misunderstandings and lots of disappointments. So at the early stage, not only you have to try to see if she is the most beautiful woman you have ever seen, or comparing her to pictures from internet, you have to think about important things. Are you going to be on the same page about all the important things in 5 years? Are you even on the same page about all it now? Because later on, I have never met a couple who would get divorced because, for example, her eyes are not blue enough, or, for example, she was blonde when I have dated her and now she is a brunette. No, people get divorced for, unfortunately, more down-to-earth reasons like money, infidelity, like lack of intimacy. And when we talk about lack of intimacy, we're not talking only about sex and romance. We are talking also about time spent together, about being truly open with each other, about having long conversations, because for different people intimacy will mean different things. And of course you can understand that when your partner is constantly giving you a cold shoulder, well, one can tell that this is a reason to look for this intimacy elsewhere, outside of your marriage. And of course it can cause infidelity, and this can lead to a divorce, unfortunately. And another reason why people unfortunately get divorced very often in the United States is the lack of equality. What exactly does it mean? Well, one partner thinks that he is investing more time, more effort, more money into this relationship, and the other party is not appreciating all this effort. For example, a lady thinks that she is doing all the chores and she is taking care of the kids and she has a job and she is doing more for this marriage than, for example, a man. Or a man thinks that he earns more money and, for example, she has to do more, she has to cook more, she has to clean more, etc. So it is very, very not comfortable, and it is very, very hard to constantly feel unappreciated. Because in relationship we all want to be acknowledged for what we do. We all want to hear that you are such a great mother, or you are such a great wife, or you are such a great husband, and you do so much for this relationship. So of course when you feel unappreciated, you start to wonder, what am I doing here? Why am I spending my life in this relationship when the other party doesn't appreciate it, doesn't see what I am doing? And another important reason why unfortunately people get divorced so often in the United States is the lack of preparation. And what do psychologists put into this one? Well, here they put unrealistic expectations, and also they put here the scenario when people get married very young, and they claim that 9% of 30 years old have already ended one marriage in the United States. As a professional matchmaker, I can say that I would add unrealistic expectations or lack of preparation, as they call it here, definitely among top 3 reasons why people unfortunately end up being divorced, or why unfortunately a relationship ends. Because so often I see it that people have totally unrealistic expectations, not only regarding their future partner, but also about relationship in general, about love, about marriage. They think that, well, love will just happen, and it all will be just romance, hot sex, candies, candles, butterflies, and I will have to just enjoy it, and I won't have to work on it, on a relationship. And people expect totally unrealistic things. They expect love on the first sight. They often imagine that they feel this love at the first sight, and they choose to fall for a person who has totally different values, totally different understanding about relationship, totally different expectations, and a person has totally different understanding about money, about desire to have or not to have kids. So of course they feel very disappointed. And also when you marry very young, for example, you're both in your 20s, people usually choose each other just because they feel physically attracted, intimacy is good, he is very funny or she is very funny and very down to earth, and they don't actually talk about important things. And of course in 5, 3, sometimes 7 years, if people are more patient, they find out that they have really different long-term goals. So I see so many people who later tell me that they got divorced because they were just so different. Because a lady can think that, okay, marriage, they will just love each other and everything will be sunshine and rainbows, and once they start living together, for example, before that she has never lived outside of your family house, it turns out that bills are not magically paid by her parents anymore, and you have to earn money, and you have to buy groceries, and you have to actually split the chores, who is doing what in the house. And especially when kids are involved, it's getting more and more complicated. By the way, did you know why divorces happen more often in summer than, for example, in winter or in spring? Because in summer, schools usually have long summer breaks, and also very often in kindergartens they have a month or several months off, so that parents can spend time with kids. And for many families, it is that final drop that kills that marriage and relationship, because two parents, they simply can't agree who will take care of the kid now, how to raise this kid, how to spend time together. Why there were so many divorces during COVID? Because people were forced to actually spend time together, and many have found out that the fact that she has really nice breasts and her eyes are very blue and she's 10 years younger, it doesn't mean that the two of them can actually spend, I'm not even talking right now 1 year under one roof without leaving the apartment, several weeks. They can't agree on which movie to watch, what to do, and many people have actually learned that despite the fact that they have kids, they don't actually like their partner, because when there is job, there were like fun hobbies, people got distracted, and once they were forced to spend 24/7 together, the whole situation is not very healthy. But it has showed, unfortunately, that marriage is not just about physical attraction and what looks good on paper. As a conclusion to this lack of preparation, scientists say that people have false impressions of what marriage will be like. As a matchmaker, I can add that they have totally realistic understanding about what their partner should be like, what a relationship should be like, what they should feel. They expect this sparkle, this insta love, something. They expect that love will magically make them smarter, younger, taller, slimmer, etc. But relationship, it's not a magic pill. If you're not happy with your life, if you're not happy with yourself, you will bring yourself into that relationship with all your insecurities and with all your issues. So of course it sounds easy and it sounds like a cliche, but you have to first of all learn who you are, what do you really want and need in this life, and after that think if you actually are ready to commit and to build a relationship. And of course, another important reason why unfortunately so many people get divorced, not only in the US but also in Europe, and it works for Ukraine as well, is poor communication. Well, it is so important to be able to talk to your partner, to be able to share your thoughts, not only to discuss your dreams and your aspirations, but also to talk about important things. Who is going to do what? To understand that in relationship there will be misunderstandings and conflicts, and it is important to talk them through. And also there can be third parties. Kids, your kids from previous relationship, ex-partners, in-laws, brothers, sisters, friends, granny, and when third parties are involved, there can be even more elaborate, unusual scenarios of poor communication and miscommunications. Of course, if you lack a healthy communication, if you're afraid to share your thoughts and your wishes and your priorities to your partner, this can lead to false intimacy expectations. You can expect one thing, but your partner, he or she, he is not a mind reader, or she is not a mind reader. She can't read by your face what do you want right now. Even people have been married for 50 years, you have to say it out loud. What exactly do you want or what you don't like, so that the other party can either do it for you, give it to you, or explain why it is not possible or why she is against it. And another two important reasons why people actually get divorced is addiction and abuse. We have discussed abuse with you slightly at the very beginning, and I don't know why people actually think that in Ukraine the number one reason why people get divorced is addiction. That all males in Ukraine, they drink vodka, and this is why people get divorced. Actually, by official Ukrainian statistics, it's not even among top 10 reasons why people get divorced. I was actually quite proud to read it. Addictions. And addictions, it's not only about alcohol. Of course, drugs are involved. There can be addiction to sex, to computer game, to porn, to many things. And of course, when addiction is there, it can lead to financial losses, financial problems, and of course, it can crumble the marriage. And if we're speaking about abuse can be directed not only to the spouse, but also to a child, to a family member. So it's a huge topic, and of course it shouldn't be in a relationship. And another unfortunately popular reason why people get divorced in the US is the difference in religion. Just several weeks ago I had an interview with a gentleman, and he and his ex-wife unfortunately got divorced after 12 years of being together, after having 2 kids, because his ex-wife got very religious. And she wanted her husband to pray with her. She wanted him to do more for the church. And he was not as religious as she was. And they have tried to solve it with a counselor. Since did not work out well, since she wanted to be with someone as religious, as committed as she. And the gentleman, he just couldn't give it to her. And to be honest, I hear such stories quite often. And it can happen even when people represent the same religion. And of course, when there are 2 religions involved, for example, a gentleman is Jewish and the lady is Christian, or he's a Muslim and she is Christian, vice versa, well, there can be more differences. So if you are a very religious person and your religion is very important to you, you should think very carefully, if you are open to date someone who represents another religion, how important his religion is to your partner, and which sacrifices can you make to find a solution to make this relationship or marriage work, because it's a very touchy and a very tricky topic, and unfortunately it also leads to divorces. I have also seen it quite a few times when a gentleman our client was not very honest with us about his religion views. For example, he claimed he was not religious, and we have introduced him to someone who is also not very religious. And later on, this relationship crumbled because the gentleman was not very honest with us, and in real life, in reality, he was a very religious person, and he prayed several times per day, and he wanted his future partner to be also very religious. But why he was not dating religious women? Because he didn't find them attractive enough, and he thought that women who were not very religious, that they would switch their mind, that they would commit to his beliefs, but they will have the looks that he has found attractive enough for him. So it is very important to be sincere and honest with yourself about who you are, what are your true beliefs, what is truly important for you, and of course with your matchmaker, because otherwise we will introduce you to a lady you claim you need, because we can't read your mind and we can't know what you are hiding. And the most common reason, official reason based on official statistics in Ukraine, like 42% of marriages have crumbled in Ukraine, because there was this psychological pressure, moral pressure in a relationship, and unfortunately many couples couldn't work it through. So it's the number one reason why, unfortunately, people got divorced in Ukraine in 2020 and 2021. This statistics has changed slightly because of COVID and lockdown, and abuse has entered the scene, unfortunately, and many people have reported that they were abused by their partners during the lockdowns, and unfortunately it led to the divorce. Another very popular reason why people got divorced in Ukraine, like 23% of people who got divorced in 2020, they have mentioned financial problems. And here it includes not only unsatisfaction of the financial situation, but also the fact that our society is quite patriarchal, and in many cases gentlemen wanted their wives to stay at home and not to have real jobs, and they couldn't provide enough for a family. And many ladies, it was not just about the money, but they felt that they should have careers, and they wanted to have careers. They wanted to also earn money. I have also found interesting statistics that in Ukraine, usually ladies were suing for a divorce if they were in the age group 20s and 30s, and in the age group 50s and up, usually men were suing for a divorce. Well, you can understand, or someone can call it crisis of middle age, when a gentleman is in his 50s and he wants to start something new, and he wants to have a fresh start, and in their 20s and 30s, ladies were not happy with the financial situation. Ladies wanted to have jobs, and I have read several interesting interviews with divorce lawyers, and they claim that in this age group, usually ladies, they openly tell that for them a divorce is the only reason to actually build a career, because her husband is against her having a career, is against her having a job. He thinks that she should stay at home and raise kids, and even if like money was okay in the family, it's not enough for her. She wants to build a career, and she gets divorced even if kids were involved. Actually, it is interesting that prenuptial agreements were getting more and more popular in Ukraine. Like if in 2018 only every 40th couple would sign up a prenup, in 2020 every 20th couple would sign a prenup. So people were more, I would say, smart about the approach to getting married, and many people understand that, well, unfortunately, 40%, 50% of marriages, each year statistics is slightly different, end up with a divorce, and a prenup is a safe way to resolve future conflicts, to decide from the very beginning who will have the kids, how you will divide the house, etc. So as you can see, reasons why people get divorced, they are different. So in all countries, people fight for money. In all countries, people can lack communication. Actually, I was also surprised that lack of commitment or infidelity was not among top 10 reasons why people get divorced in Ukraine. Yes, it's more about money here, and well, getting divorced because of the wage gain, it was not even in top 20 in Ukraine. I couldn't find it. Also, I have found interesting statistic when people get married in Ukraine. The statistic has changed slightly. Like on average, women get married when they are 25, and it includes both cities and villages. So statistics in cities and villages, it will be slightly different. And men got married when they are 28. And for example, in Europe, if you're talking about Sweden, women usually get married when they are 33 and men when they are 36. And in Spain, when women are 32 and men are 35. Guys, I hope it was interesting for you. And if you like this topic, I will prepare for you more data about divorces, and I will share more stories and my opinion why do people get divorced, unfortunately, and how to be smart about your choices and to invest your love in the right partner, and to build a relationship that won't lead to a divorce but would lead to many happy years together. I want to wish you lots of love. Svetlana Mucha, especially for Diolli.com from Kerpen, Germany.